It is 6:01. I'm Lucinda Collier, President of the North Rose-Wolcott Board of Education, and I will call our board meeting to order. The first thing to do is to stand, please, and pledge the allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. A motion, please, to approve tonight's agenda. Linda and Paul. There is a change you need to make. Number 2 tonight on the agenda will be the superintendent's update. So if you would put that in there, and of course that will eliminate the superintendent's update on page 3. You can cross that off. So that's the change. Any other discussion for the approval of the minutes? Then all in favor of approving the minutes? Motion is carried. Mr. Pullen, we'll turn it over to you now for the superintendent's update.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Collier. So we're going to go a little bit out of order, and I'm going to ask Mrs. St. John bring up my second slide. As you notice on your screen, we have 2 young superstars with us tonight, Kenneth and Sadie, and we'll bring them back on live. But I want to share with the Board of Education and our community 2 examples of our UPK program at work. I want to thank Mrs. Abbott, Mrs. Gushu, Mrs. Copeland, Ms. Rigby, Ms. Putman, Mrs. Green, and Mr. Nash for the wonderful work they're doing with our 3 and 4 pre-K programs. I think the board and the community is going to be very pleased with what they see. And as I said, once we're done with these video highlights, we're going to turn it over to the true superstars from my presentation, Kenneth and Sadie, and give the board a chance to interact with these 2 young readers. So Tina, if you would mind, would you start the video, please? I'm not hearing the volume. Is it working?
I hear it on my end. Let me see.
A fish.
Can you start that right back over, please?
Sure can. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The pet store. The pet store. Here is a kitten.
Nice. Good job.
Here is a puppy. Here is a fish. Here is a frog. Here is a gerbil. Here is a bird. Here is a snake. Here is a bunny.
Nice job.
Wow, very nice. Very nice.
Cat.
Oh, let's look at the last letter. What's the last letter sound?
A, can.
Yeah, which one is the can? Nice job. Match them up. Perfect. Slide it on over. We'll do another one.
A, cat.
Yep, find the picture. Yep, slide it right over.
D,
Oh, look closely at that letter.
D,
It looks like this one up here.
B,
B. Yep, what sound does B make?
B, A, G,
Mm-hmm.
B, A, G, bag.
Nice work. Where's the picture?
J, A, J, A, jam.
Nice work. Where's the picture?
A, A, fan.
Nice job.
Oh. So as you can see, Sadie was doing the consonant, vowel, consonant strategy and tapping and sounding it out. Kenneth was actually in a set one of our reader. So they truly are doing amazing things down in the 3 and 4 pre-K classrooms. Tina, if you don't mind, just minimize my presentation for 1 second so we can actually see Kenneth and Sadie because they've joined us. And I don't know if Kenneth, you want to say something first and then we'll turn it over to Sadie, or if you want to let Sadie go first. Let's let Sadie go, because I know last week when I saw her over at the Parrot Community Fair, she was worked up pretty good, going to get a book from the book fair and then going down to see Mr. Poole read, weren't you, Sadie? You want to say hello to the Board of Education?
Sure.
Go ahead, say a couple of things to him, please.
I don't know.
I have a few questions if you want me to ask, maybe.
Go
that will
right
help.
ahead.
Okay. So Sadie, what's your favorite part of school?
Just going to school and having fun.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us, Sadie, what do you do during reading centers?
So I just do my thing.
You do your thing? Like what kind of things?
Like do what I'm supposed to do.
Do you play on the iPads sometimes?
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you build words sometimes?
kinda, but
Do you practice your
Yeah.
letters and your sounds?
mhm.
Mm-hmm. Do you have friends at school that you like to play with?
Yes, lots of them.
Lots of them. Awesome. Sadie, what do you want to be when you grow up?
An artist.
An artist. That's fabulous. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Kenneth? Do you want to answer some of my questions? No. Yes, no, that's okay. If you don't want to, that's okay. We saw you reading an amazing book. Thank you for reading for us.
So thank you,
Wonderful.
Kenneth, and thank you, Sadie.
How old are Kenneth and Sadie?
They're in our 4 pre-K program right now.
Oh, nice.
So as you know, one of our goals is that by December of kindergarten, we will have readers. And these 2 are part of our group of 4-year-olds who are in a set 1 for reading right now. You know, there are a lot of great things happening around the district. Those 2 young children are just a fine example of all the great things that many, many people are contributing to here at North Rose on their behalf. So we're very proud of them. really pretty pleased, like I said, with everything that's going on with the pre-K program over there. And I wanted to put a little bit of pressure on Mr. Bradley and his team because, you know, nothing's cuter than listening to two 4-year-olds read at the beginning of a board meeting. I know they're up to the challenge. They've got a great presentation for us tonight, but before I turn it over to them, just want to kind of piggyback on the remaining portion of my presentation for the superintendent update and just thank Ted Hargarther and his team from the maintenance department. They did a wonderful job throughout the winter, and they're doing a fantastic job for us this spring, keeping us active with our athletic contest, keeping our sidewalks clear, and keeping up with the ever-changing climate. And then also just a quick thanks to those people and community members who participated last week's community fair at North Rose-Wolcott Elementary. We had 19 teachers volunteer. We had many community vendors show up. We had many families participate. I believe it was approximately 150 participants, and it was a cold Tuesday evening, but it really was a wonderful event. So we appreciate the time and commitment. And again, you see the fruits of our labor with Kenneth and Sadie. So thank you.
Can we give them a big round of applause? Thank you, Kenneth and
Absolutely.
Sadie. We love having you talk with us.
So Sadie and Kenneth, you're free to jump off and enjoy the rest of your evening. We're happy you were able to join us and really appreciate all your hard work. So you guys have a great night. Okay?
Bye.
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 I think we should bring them back next year. They should be an annual attendant or in annual attendance.
And watch them grow up.
Watch
huh?
them
That's
grow.
right. We certainly will. So without any more of a delay, Scott, I'd like to turn it over to you and your team, if you don't mind, to kind of piggyback on that presentation from our 4 pre-K classroom students, and then allow you to give an update to the board on your school improvement plan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pullen. Yeah, that is definitely tough to follow, so we'll do our best. Let me just get my screen up here. Okay, good evening, and thank you for allowing us to come back to share an update about our school improvement plan tonight with the board. I'd like to start just by having each of the members of our school leadership team introduce themselves and their role at the high school. You can start with Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Wiktorowicz. I am an instructional coach and Spanish teacher at the high school.
And Brandon.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brandon Kapczynski. I'm a math teacher at the high school.
Thank you. And Adam.
I'm Adam Hawley. I teach government and economics at the high school.
And Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick Wojcik. I'm a nurse science teacher.
And Carrie.
And I'm Carrie Merritt, and I'm the Alternative Learning Center teacher at the high school.
And Jay.
Jason Scheller, assistant principal at the high school.
So the district's vision and mission are really driving forces of what we do on a daily basis, and we're always keeping those in mind. We're constantly working to prepare students for their post-secondary lives, no matter what that path is, whether it's college, work, or the military. By focusing on fostering relationships and providing relevant, meaningful experiences for our students, we really believe that our faculty and staff helps students reach their potential. We are always looking at data to inform our instruction and help us to make decisions about things that we want to do and what we want to implement at the high school. Academic data has looked a little bit different since March of 2020, where we would typically be using the administration of Regents exams to as an important data point. As a result, we've kind of found other ways to track data, to monitor student achievement, to monitor academic growth. And a chart that you're looking at right now kind of compares overall course failures from last year to this year. So we can see the number of students failing, how many total courses were failed, And that gives us a benchmark to kind of see from year to year and also within the year from quarter to quarter. A couple things that you might notice as you look at that is the bit of a slide from quarter 1 to quarter 2 this year. That's not atypical. I think the number of interruptions in quarter 2 with Thanksgiving, the winter break, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, that's the most interrupted quarter of the school year. So sometimes students can struggle there. We didn't see it last year, and I think that's really attributed to the fact that we were learning a new learning model with the hybrid instruction. And so the first quarter was a little bit rough. And then throughout the year, we kind of figured it out as we went. But it's important, I think, to note, our growth this year from quarter 2 to quarter 3. And, we want to keep moving that in that positive direction as we move into the fourth quarter this year. We also like to look at how well students are doing and celebrate their achievements. This is an important thing for us to recognize, and we look at the number of students achieving high academic marks from quarter to quarter. So last year, we had 52% of our students making the 30-week honor roll. 30-week mark we just hit about a week and a half ago. And then this year we had just over 60% of students that are achieving 80% cumulative GPA or higher. And that's something to be celebrated and something that we're really proud of.
In regards to partnerships, one of our goals is to foster connections and relationships. And so we really think that that connection to community is really our driving force behind why we're there every day. Some of the things to highlight since our last report, we have all sorts of athletic contests and extracurricular events, such as the winter concert and the district concert, musical, art show, all sorts of things going on. We were lucky to have Sweethearts and Heroes come back to do some training with dealing with adversity. The Save a Life tour was well received as the kids in the junior and senior level were able to participate in a distracted driving or an impaired driving simulation, and there was high remarks from the students from that. We had our spring parent-teacher conference and college and career night. Was highly attended. Got a lot of great feedback and learned a lot on how to make that even better next year. In terms of community involvement, we are still working on the Rotary's little library project. And I'm proud to say that my Interact Club just participated with the Rotary as well as the workforce development team on Saturday to help clean up some of our local community waterways. So the little library project is on track. Kids have been talking about that through their tech classes and are moving forward. And I've been working with my Interact Club to help stock the little library projects once everything's done. Our Rochester area college fair had several colleges, and next week our students are having an opportunity to visit FLCC campus and get a tour and get an idea of what college life may look like. We had an opportunity for Cayuga Community College to come right to the school, and we had instant admission for 9 of our students, which was fantastic. And some of those students weren't even thinking about going to school, but they had that opportunity to realize that it really is an opportunity for them to excel outside of the high school. Boys State and Girls State, we had 3 junior boys and 1 to 2 junior girls that have been offered spots. Our Dollars for Scholars Phonathon raised over $5,000 for the scholarship program. Our high school newsletter has been changed from a monthly format to more of a semi-annual format. And our last newsletter received over 5,000 views as of today. So there's obviously people looking at that at a steady basis. Our workforce development program is up and running. We have 10 steady work students that are participating in that. And our career cupboard continues to serve our community each and every month with the backpack program, and was able to help out with some of the families that experienced some loss through some house fires this year as well.
Our equity section kind of focuses on helping to build ownership among students in what they do here at the high school. Because if we can help them see the value in what we do, hopefully it can kind of use the high school as a springboard into the, the individual paths that they're all taking. They're not all going to end up taking the same path, but if we can find something at the high school that they can look back on and say, that's what engaged me, that's what made me feel welcome and feel valued, then that's kind of our goal. And so we have been helping to have a number of different new programs this year, including some new clubs, a GSA club that promotes diversity and inclusion among all people. We've also approved a driver's education program that I think is starting this summer, and a new geotech program in the technology field. We've had all kinds of arts and music showcases, including the district concert. That's the picture you see there. LIFT has offered a number of different field trips off campus that promotes, building relationships among students and the adults that chaperone and among students that wouldn't necessarily hang out otherwise. They've also hosted a number of Super Saturday events that have been quite successful. They've had record attendance at one of their most recent ones. Many of our students are currently participating in both paid and unpaid internships around the community. I teach seniors, so I have a number of them. Some of them are working at metal fabrication shops. A few of them are at Marshall Farms. And then a few of my students have spent dozens of hours working at local veterinary clinics through their work at Wayne Tech and Career Center. And it's really just kind of allowing them to start to build their professional networks. How can they say, what started at North Rose-Wolcott High School led me to my professional career. The introduction and expansion of all those different programs are kind of meant to build equity and ownership among all students and help them all feel welcomed, valued, and heard within the district. So hopefully they can look back on NRW and say that was my jumping off point. That was my springboard to the path that I took after graduation.
Next up, we have social emotional learning. Throughout the course of the year, we've utilized many strategies and programs to not only meet the SEL needs of the students, but the staff as well. As you can see with many of these examples that I'll show you, we've done a great job as a staff to collaborate among different departments. So for the first one, Safe Dates and Love Notes, that is with counseling coming into the health classes to work with the students on healthy relationships. Furthermore, we have the counseling that's also helping out with small group instruction to try to work on some areas of needs with our students. We have a new program this year called Panorama. Well, new that we're utilizing fully with our staff. You've used it in the past, but everybody's using it now, where we're able to survey the students and see their areas of strength of SEL and then the areas of growth that we need to work on with individual students, which is it's a pretty cool tool. We've also created the Cougar card, which we just did for our first quarter last quarter, where any student in the high school that had 0 referrals and 0 failing classes were able to apply for this card. And with the card came an abundance of incentives for the students, and they really, really liked it. And we're super excited to start now with quarter 4 as well. We also have positive postcards where staff can send them from staff to staff and staff to students to just celebrate the students on different things that are going on in the school. We also have the new Cougar values this year, where we're able to do Student of the Month, where staff are able to recognize students who are showcasing these Cougar values. A tier 2 system of support, the check-in and check-out system, we're able to identify students that might be in need of a trusted adult. And these trusted adults, we work on attendance, getting their grades up, and trying to keep their behavior in a positive way. And that has been really successful. We also were able to survey the entire student body to see if every student had a trusted adult in the building that they could speak with if they had an issue. And any students that were maybe without a person, we were able to work together as a team to support these students. We also support the staff, as I mentioned before, and a few of the things that we've done with the staff to support their SEL this year is we have monthly staff shout outs where we're able to recognize, so staff to staff, admin to staff, and we celebrate each other, which is pretty neat to see. We also survey our staff to get their feedback on different topics so then we can move forward together as a team. We also have the opportunity to attend monthly staff community circles before our faculty meetings. So these are optional, and it's a great way for staff to get to know each other. And then lastly, there's a For You Friday that has started this year where staff are able to do a variety of different activities, once again, optional, in a relaxing atmosphere together. So we really have done a lot of different items, as you can see in the last 2 slides, but we're constantly on the lookout for new ways that we can really meet the needs of our students and staff in regards to SEL.
For our academic goals for the rest of the school year, we're building on our original goals of having 90% of students will score proficient on the Regents exams, and mastery rates will increase by 15%. I mean, as everybody knows, the last 5 or 6 Regents sessions have been very non-traditional. So we are moving into June, knowing that every Regents course will have an exam right now. We're not 100% sure. The state still hasn't told us exactly how much those will count, but many of our students have never experienced a full high stakes Regents exam. So we're really working hard with our students to get them to the point where they're going to be able to take these exams and flow back into school, or flow back into getting credits and finishing out their courses this year. We've had professional development on formative assessments, classroom management. Amy just mentioned Panorama a little while ago, and we also have Atlas, the system that we use to put in our curriculum maps as well as our lesson plans and materials. The Alternative Learning Center next year will be Cougar Ops. We've continued to support students academically and with SEL. We have a program that's going to move directly into the summer, especially with our 3rd-year students, and continue on in the fall. And then we have our instructional coach, which is Amy Wiktorowicz at the high school, works with about 80% of our staff off and on. She's a very busy lady working with all the staff to make sure that we're communicating with our students and making sure they're getting what they need to hopefully successfully finish out this last quarter of the school year.
Last goal that we're going to talk to you and update you about tonight is our financial goal, and really making sure that our resources are being allocated efficiently and effectively. We've talked about the creation of our central supply room, and teachers have been going to that a lot this year, just to grab school supplies that they need throughout the year. Doing this, we can take a look at individual budgets and we can use those funds more appropriately. We've added a couple of technological pieces of equipment, which has allowed for an enhancement of programming. You can see in the pictures on the screen, we've added 3 new 3D printers and a nice laser engraver. Our lift programming is still going on. We had a Super Saturday event talking to Joe O'Neill. It sounded like it went great. We're still offering academic tutoring and SEL opportunities for our students. Finally, just to mention some of our grants that we're working with, we have the school safety grant, which supports student social emotional learning. We have the optimal health grant, which offers training for teen mental health and first aid. We have professional development opportunities for digital technology, and then the Bureau of Justice Assistant Program, which is working with our ALC.
So we'd like to thank the Board of Education and Mr. Pullen for giving us the opportunity to share some of our actions and accomplishments, and certainly would like to thank our tremendous SLT team that really helps us to plan and implement many of the great things that you heard about tonight. So at this point, we'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Jason?
I don't have a question. I just want to make a statement, and it's nice to see the focus on the whole student, not necessarily just the academic portion of it. It says a lot about our community and our staff, and I appreciate it a lot. Thank you, guys and gals.
Paul?
Scott, I just had one quick question. Can you expand a bit, please, on the workforce development, where we have 10 steady work students?
Yeah, so Cody Lapp has been in the role as our workforce development person, and Steady Work is a program that the school participates in. So there's a couple different ways it can work, but for the Steady Work specific program, students ages 14 to 24 can get jobs. Cody helps find placements for them, and then students are paid because the school participates in the program. So students can kind of go in and out of that. But we have 10 students who are currently in that role, and they do different things. So Right now, they're doing a lot of work with Marshall Farms, but they've also got other area businesses that are willing to participate in the program. And we're always looking to try to grow that and connect with other businesses so that students can have more opportunities depending on what their interests are.
Okay, is that always after school or can it be also during the school day?
Right now it's after school. In the future, we're looking at some other ways that we can kind of partner with some other programs for students, specifically students that might be at risk, where there's opportunities earlier in the day.
Okay, thank you. Great.
John?
Paul, one of those jobs is doing the weed harvesting in front of Sodas Bay, running the machine. I thought the test results looked really good, knowing that the region scores are not there, but the idea that the students, the number of students, the percentage of students on the honor roll has gone up, as well as the kids who fail has gone down. That's a healthy sign. I do worry about the Regents exam, and I forgot who said something about it, but we don't know what SED is going to do about it. But since we haven't had it for a couple of years, students are not accustomed to taking them. They don't know the rigor of them. And I think that's going to be a challenge in May and June for any of our students and throughout New York State. It's not just North Rose-Wolcott. I was really impressed with the social aspect of your presentation, where students and staff are both recognized by each other. I think that's a very healthy sign. A very good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda?
Just want to chime in and add to that you mean overall, you expect the academics and there's a lot of information there, but it's really gratifying to see that social, emotional, and whether it's student, staff, person to person, it's a big improvement. It's impressive.
Thank you.
It's certainly a testament to those of you who are leading all of this and your influence and help with for the other teachers in the building and all that's going on. So thank you so much, everyone. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I think then we'll move on. We'll move to the public access. Tina, has anyone asked to speak with the board tonight?
No, there was no one.
All right, thank you. Now we come to number 4, which is really number 5 with the change. The reason we had to have the vote or the meeting tonight instead of tomorrow night, all the school districts are meeting on this Wednesday night to vote for the BOCES board members and to approve their budget, the BOCES budget. The first order of business is to elect 2 board, or there's 3 seats open. Only 2 names are being presented here tonight. It's my assumption that with leaving an empty seat, that the new board after July 1st, that they will then appoint someone to fill that seat. That's my assumption. It may not be the case, but so at first we need to have a motion to elect a person for seat number 1. Does a board member want to present a name? John?
I'd like to put Philip Rose as a candidate for a board seat.
Is there a second? Linda, thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor of voting for approving Philip Rose for seat number 1 on the BOCES board. Raise your hand. Thank you. That's unanimous. Motion approved. The next motion will be for the seat number 2. Is there a motion for that, please? All right, Linda?
I'd like to present Joe McNamara from Seneca Falls.
All right, is there a second? Tina? Any discussion? All those in favor of voting for Joseph McNamara for seat number 2 on the BOCES board? Thank you. That's a motion is approved by unanimous vote. And now the third thing we must do is to approve the 2022-23 tentative administrative budget of BOCES at a sum of $3,535,487. And it's not the whole BOCES budget, that's just the administrative portion. Is there a motion, please? John and Paul? Any discussion? All right, all in favor of approving this motion, the budget motion? It's unanimous and approved. We move now to the consent agenda. Motion, please, to approve the consent agenda. Jason and Paul? Any discussion, questions? The consent agenda goes through page 2 and page 3. John, did I hear your voice?
I'm trying to bring it up. I just would recognize Jan McDormand as a retirement, as well as Cody Lapp resigning. 2 big losses in our district.
Absolutely. They've served our district very well. Any other discussion? Then all in favor of approving the consent agenda? A motion is carried with unanimous consent. We move on to good news. Is there any good news anyone wants to share tonight? We've heard a lot of good news from the high school, and that was marvelous. Paul, you have something?
Yes, I want to highlight that our middle school had 24 students with art submissions at the Wayne County Middle School Art Show. 24 names, I mean, it's a little bit too much to read, but wow, what a great showing for our middle school and for our district.
Absolutely.
I was kind of hoping Coach Kapczynski would stay with me because I wanted to highlight the fact we had another really beautiful ceremony at our baseball field last Thursday when we had teacher appreciation. And I can't remember exactly how many teachers. I'm going to tell you it was at least 12, where students had teachers come and share the fact that those teachers had been special to those ball players. What a great evening.
Yeah.
Topped off by the fact that we beat Williamson.
Great.
Got a little bit more good news from the athletic department. The golf team has won, and I'm sorry, the tennis team has won two of their matches. Democrat and Chronicle announced the Greater Rochester Winter Sport All-Star team, and we had Vivian Bishop, Emma Grace Humbert, Noah Wazinski, and Jack DeFeo all honored from the Democrat and Chronicle. Following that, the Wayne County Board of Supervisors also honored Vivian, Noah, and Jack DeFeo. So Vivian was the alpine skier, Noah wrestling, Jack DeFeo indoor track, and Emma Grace Humbert is basketball. Track and field had a great meet at South Seneca last week. Several personal best and a couple of first place finishes. So all in all, the athletics are rocking. And I think you all know from my email that our baseball team is 5-0.
Doing very well. Absolutely. Great. Moving on to board member requests or comments. Is there anyone have anything they want to bring to the board tonight? All right.
Linda, I think.
Oh, Linda does?
Well,
Sorry,
yeah.
I missed you, Linda.
Well, yesterday I zoomed into the report that David Little was giving about funding and so on. And he did talk a bit about, I was feeling pretty good because he did talk a bit about electric buses and how that's being promoted and some of the disadvantages that presents to rural schools as the person in charge of the rural school area of the New York State School Board Association. So I was really feeling good that we're on top of that and that they're pursuing that. And there'll certainly be more information to come. But I felt good about little rural North Rose-Wolcott being on the edge there of information. So that was
Yes,
good.
very much so. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. That concludes our agenda for tonight. We do need to go into executive session. So therefore I will need to, on motion for the board to go into executive session to discuss a legal matter. Jason and Tina, any discussion? All in favor? All right, motion passes. And to all of those of you who are zooming in with us tonight, we will be going into executive session. We will return into open session to adjourn the meeting, but we will not be conducting any business after executive session. So feel free to leave us for the evening and know that you won't be missing a thing. A good night, and board members will take a 3-4 minute break between our now and the executive session.